morning, ma'am. Good morning, sirs.
Good morning, Madhav. How are you?
I'm doing good, ma'am. Thank you.
You're good. All right. And when is your interview?
Ma'am, 9th January.
9th. All right. That's good. The board will not be jaded. They will be looking at you with fresh eyes. That's
Yes,
very good.
ma'am.
So, Madhav, you belong to Gwalior, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have some very interesting and very philanthropic hobbies. That's wonderful to see. Okay. So, tell me, do you think that Bundelkhand should become a state, both sides of the border? Does it make sense?
Ma'am, Bundelkhand is fraught with several developmental challenges. It's not able to develop its agriculture because of the sand quality over there, as well as irrigation capabilities. But developing it as a separate state would not be a prudent idea, because for a state to be developed, it must have proper fiscal resources for it to cater to its need, which will not be the case in case of Bundelkhand. A better idea would be to set up more districts in those areas, so there could be better monitoring and proper administration of the functions.
Mm-hmm. But there'll also have to be decentralization, huh? Not just setting up districts and controlling from Bhopal or controlling from Lucknow is not going to sort the problem. Huh?
Yes, ma'am. The setting of districts, more districts, I propose.
What about the idea? What about the idea of a state with infrastructure support? I mean, a Bundelkhand plan is made in both the states, special development plan, etc., which is made by people who live outside Bundelkhand. Water, this, that. But incidentally, what is the wealth of Bundelkhand?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Can you
What
please
is the
repeat?
wealth of Bundelkhand? What resources do they have?
I'm not exactly able to comment
About
on this.
mining.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are resources, not that, but yeah, okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done commerce and accountancy, which interestingly was your subject, and you did it also for optional. Huh?
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
right. You had consistency throughout. Tell me now, how will GST impact small businesses? Is
Ma'am,
it good? Is it bad? Is it the same?
Ma'am, it depends on the compliance burden that the smaller businesses were taking earlier. For instance, in the case of VAT, usually there were monthly compliances or quarterly compliances that were being followed. But now with GST, some stakeholders have to take up monthly compliances. So in a short term, they see this as a burden. But it has provided them a seamless market of input tax credit, and they can trade anywhere with a separate registration number. So that has eased their compliance for the long term. So even the GST itself is trying to reduce their burden through quarterly returns and monthly payment systems, composition scheme, etc., which will go in the long way for formalization of our economy and improve our tax base.
What about the taxes as of now? Has GST shown increase in revenue from this sector, or has it shown a decline as of now?
Ma'am, the widening of the tax base, as it has almost doubled. So in that way, we have also clocked 1.6 lakh crore a month out of 6 out of 8 months this year. So there has been an overall growth. For sector wise, ma'am, I'll have to look into the proper data.
Fair enough. Okay. Now, tell me, we are one of the few countries that has a lower CIT than a PIT. Does it make sense?
I'm not sure what is CIT and PIT. Can you please?
CIT is corporate income tax and PIT is personal income tax. So what is the rate of CIT? Are you aware?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
Ma'am, for the it has been reduced to 22%, and
To?
for the 22%, and for newer companies,
it's less than that.
Yes, ma'am. And for newer companies, it has been 15% if they are into manufacturing.
Yes. And what is the personal income tax rates of the equivalent slab? They would all be in the highest bracket.
Yes, ma'am.
So does it make sense? Is it not a very anti-people sort of a taxation policy? Anti-personal savings policy? What do you say?
Ma'am, this would require a proper evaluation of the exemptions that are given to personal income tax. Personal income tax.
Exemptions are being done away with now in the new model, if you see.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's, no, the only thing is that the HNIs has been reduced. What is the logic for that? Can you find some logic for that? Why HNI's burden is reduced?
Ma'am, overall, the aim of income tax is to redistribute income, but our
From the poor to
taxation
the rich, or which way?
from the rich to the poor.
Or then the HNI is reduced and other segments are not reduced.
Ma'am, there has to be an optimum
The
level of
CIT is
taxation.
reduced, the HNI income tax personal is reduced.
Yes, ma'am.
The interest rates are reduced.
Ma'am, the idea is to not have a tax system that promotes evasion of compliance or demotivates HNIs to
But
have their bases in India.
as a person who's done accountancy, don't you see the loopholes that are being made use of by everybody?
Yes, ma'am. Often companies are set up to show their income.
So there are
Which
lots
is
of ways that's happening.
yes, ma'am. It is often there are loopholes being used.
So then I come back to my original question: does it make sense to have a higher personal income tax than a corporate income tax?
This is an interesting food for thought, ma'am. I think I have to.
All right, I'll leave you at that. I'll leave you at that. I was being the devil's advocate and just going along with it. Okay. Now I am very impressed that you are into organ donation. That's a wonderful thing. And I'm sure you know the rules. Can a person donate an organ for a non-relative today legally?
Ma'am, overall, the Transplantation of Human Organs and Tissue Act allows donation of organs within the near relatives, but there is a provision where you can donate it if there is an authorization by the medical board.
What is the authority? Do you know? There's an authority that scrutinizes. Are you aware of what it is?
Ma'am, then the body is NOTO, and at the state
not
level
the
also
body.
we have.
There is a authority that screens. Are you aware?
Ma'am, I'm aware of the authorization boards.
Recently, a hospital was given notice. What was that? Are you aware? It was in the newspapers sometime back.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it was an allegation on the Apollo chain of hospitals for running a kidney racket, where the vulnerable sections from Myanmar, the people from Myanmar were being targeted for their kidney through a racket.
How do you get over the problem? There's a poor man, he needs the money, very often for drugs, whatever. Achha, by the way, can a drug user donate an organ, donate his organs?
Ma'am, I'm not really sure of it, but the donation of organs will depend on the medical capability of the.
Of course.
Yeah.
Can a cancer affected person do it?
No.
Read up again. Read up again.
Okay, I'll do
there are conditionalities. It's quite wide. Okay. Anyway, very good. So, tell me, what is India's real interest rate and nominal interest rate today? And what's the difference? I mean, why are both these rates important?
Ma'am, our repo rate is around 6.5%. You can get a loan at around 8 and 8.5% or more.
Actually, I made a mistake in asking you. I meant exchange rate.
Okay.
But what is repo? What is repo and reverse repo, by the way?
Ma'am, repo is the rate at which the banks can lend money from the RBI. It is 6.5% as of now. And reverse repo is the rate at which the commercial banks can park their surplus funds with the RBI. It is usually less than that.
All right. And RBI had come up with a tool. Normally, interest rate is the only tool that is used to tackle inflation, right? They had come up with a tool which was other than the interest rate. What are you aware? What is that? Over the last 2 years, they have come up with that tool. They used it only once.
Ma'am, is it the open market operation that you're talking about?
No.
And the other is the long-term repo operation that they undertook.
Never mind. That's fair enough. So I was getting into the exchange rate actually.
Yes, ma'am.
The real and the nominal. Will you explain that and tell me the importance of each of them? And what should we look at? The real exchange rate or the nominal one?
Ma'am, the nominal interest rates is inclusive of inflation that there is in the country, while the real inflation rate is devoid of that.
Real exchange
rate. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yes.
For comparing the purchasing parity of different countries, we often use the real exchange rates, ma'am. to discard the
There
inflation.
is talk today of a flexible exchange rate for our rupee. So do you agree that we are mature enough for that? And secondly, uh, can you trace over the last, say, 5, 6 years or 3, 4 years, where our reserves have gone? Forex reserves?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, our forex reserves are close to over 600 billion, close to 630, 640 billion as of now. It has been on a rising trajectory because of the efficient efforts of Reserve Bank of India. Ma'am, the first part of the question was, should we have a flexible rate? Ma'am, already we are in a situation where the rate is in floating terms. RBI only intervenes in extreme circumstances. Having a floating rate altogether would make India's economy more vulnerable to foreign exchange risks. I think we are still a way to go to make it completely floating.
Thank you, Madhav. Mr. Verma?
You can listen to me?
Yes, sir. Very clearly. Thank you.
Fine, fine. So I see that you have done CFA
Yes, sir.
level. Congrats.
Thank you, sir.
Few people do CFA in our country. So what is this CFA and how it is different from CA?
Sir, the fundamental focus of chartered accountancy is on accounting, preparation of financial reports, and their auditing aspect. However, the focus of a chartered financial analyst starts when the financial reports are prepared. So he will analyze those financial investments, take proper investment decisions for its clients or himself.
Okay.
The other aspects of finance CFA involves risk management, portfolio management, etc.
Fine. Good. So you are answering in the right direction. Now let me understand what I keep hearing that we are phase of structural growth of our economy. So the bull phase which we are seeing in the market will continue for many years. So what is this? What do we understand when we say we are passing through a structural phase of growth?
So the structural phase of growth can mean different aspects. One could be the demographic dividend that our country has right now.
Okay, demographic dividend next.
So the second aspect of the structural growth, which is driven by large amount of capex, pushed by
large amount of capex.
Yeah, capital expenditure, which have been pushed by government as well as the private sector in the last two budgets. That is also aiding in our structural growth. And overall,
tell me some elements of structural growth. How a layman will figure out we are passing through a phase of structural growth. What all happens?
So the elements could be the composition of the GDP can change, sir. For instance, in case of India, most of it is contributed by the service sector as of now.
Okay, fine. So we move on.
Yeah.
The Fed of America has given indication that next year they will be reducing interest rate maybe 2 or 3 times. Okay, so there is a euphoria in the market. Now you deal with the investment. The Indian watchers are saying that it will spur FII movement towards Indian market. That will, give a fillip to our ongoing bull market. So how this Fed thing gets connected with Indian market, the euphoria in Indian market and the equity going up in Indian market? What is the connection?
Yes, sir. So the US Fed securities, they are considered one of the most safe securities and liquid ones. Usually when there is a interest rate change in those securities, the investments of different FIIs around the world are mobilized. So if there would be a rate cut, those securities will become less appealable for the foreign institutional investor. So they will try to focus on earning more returns from the emerging economies like India, sir. So there would be a flight of capital towards India, and that would boost our markets, aiding
Are
our
you
bull run, sir.
saying that if the interest rate goes down in America, the American equity will become less attractive
Sir,
to the
sir, with,
American investors?
sir, the surplus funds which usually institutional investors park, they are based on the returns that they will get from the different securities that they want to use.
All right,
So,
you are perfectly right, but the connection which you are finding between lower interest rate and the equity becoming less attractive, there is something missing, or either something diametrically wrong.
sir, I meant to say the bond market will have reduced interest rates. So the funds that would have been parked in the US Treasury bonds will now move towards different emerging securities, their equity markets, or their government bonds.
But you see,
Rather than the
when the Fed gave indication of reducing interest rate, there was a boom in American equity market. Not just Indian, boom in American equity market.
so their boom could be driven by the idea that inflation is now coming under control, coming close to their 2% target. And with Fed cuts, there would be a spur in the investment,
I
not
will come
only.
back to it when we will talk. I will give you feedback.
Yes, sir.
So you are from Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
What is peculiar about Narmada, the flow of Narmada?
Sir, Narmada is among the few rivers that flow towards the western side in the Arabian Sea, sir.
East to west.
Yes, sir, east to west.
And
Sir,
does
it
it
is.
also flow northward or exactly east to west? From its origin, it flows northward or
Sir,
southward?
it is flowing with respect to the Rift Valley that it allows. I'm not exactly sure if it is flowing northward, sir. I'll have to read more about it.
Okay, fine. No problem. That's not an issue. The issue is you have said rightly that it flows from east to west. What was the controversy? There was a dam coming up on Narmada and very activists, including Madam Medha Patkar, they were opposing all that. What was it?
Sir, there was a Narmada Sarovar dam that was being planned on the Narmada River. The controversy dates back to the 1990s. It was supported by World Bank. Overall, the controversy was with respect to submergence of villages, proper resettlement of the uh, farmers and different landowners, as well as the water sharing between different states, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, last question. Because you have done CFA, you have investment and all this. So some people say that when you are planning to invest in some company, you should look for ROE, return on equity.
Yes, sir.
Some other experts like Saurabh Mukherjee, they say instead of ROE, focus on return on capital employed.
Yes, sir.
ROE and RO.
CE.
What is?
Yes, sir. ROCE.
ROCE.
Yes.
Fine. So, what is the difference between two and to which you subscribe?
Sir, the return on equity would capture only the returns that are earned by the equity shareholders. It would not show how much debt the company has taken to drive its return. So the overall capital structure will not be revealed by the return on equity matrix, but the return on capital employed would have in its formula earning before interest and tax, and it will take the total capital employed by the firm, which will include long-term funds of equity as well as debt, sir. So ROCE is a more composite measure, sir, and it shows whether the company is using its debt to drive its return through trading on equity.
But looking at from the point of view of a retail investor, will the retail investor prefer ROE or ROCE? A retail investor who will buy, some equity shares. That's all.
Sir, I think the retail investor, if he's going into detailed analysis, they often use a combination of different ratios, sir. So if he is using return on equity, he will also see the debt level of the company, how much debt that the company has taken. Is it able to service the interest rate that the debt has allowed it to? So overall analysis has to be taken, sir. These ratios are often related. And
Okay, Madhav.
yeah.
Nice interacting with you. I would have liked to interact more, but there are other panelists also. They will like to interact.
Okay, so Madhav, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So, you being a chartered accountant, can you shed some light on the BYJU'S, issue that is happening across the last year?
Sir, I have not really properly read it,
Not
sir.
gone
I'll have
through
to
it.
read it. Yeah,
So,
I'll read more about it.
there are a lot. So, what are the all accounting frauds that have been happening? Like, it's not that different from the others, right? What are the various accounting frauds that you have studied, and can you shed some light on them?
Sir, the recent one involved the fraud with respect to Go Mechanic, where its audit reports were flagged. So the company was inflating its stock by parking it to different mechanic services it provided it through service centers. That was not being properly displayed in the books. That was one aspect. The other one is the 10 years back, we had a Satyam scam also. In that, the FDs were inflated by the promoters to show their good performance and garner different loans from the banks. Ultimately, when there was a call to dilute the FDs, the CEO came front and disclosed the scam. The recent one in terms of bank was the PNB scam, where the SWIFT mechanism of the international transfers was not linked to their server. And there were also lapses in terms of proper branch audit not being done for 9 years.
Okay, so you're saying the main issues, main frauds are, the audit not being done properly, right? And some, what are the FEMA violations? Have you heard about that in the case of BYJU'S and others?
So not specifically what they denote in these cases, but we have to follow the proper guidelines in terms of foreign exchange that you're dealing with, in terms of repatriation, how are you using your funds in India, etc.
Yes. Okay. Right. Madhav, let's talk about the bank failures that have happened this year. So, what all bank failures have happened this year? Any idea?
I'm sorry, sir, any particular bank that you're referring to?
There are 3 banks which failed in the US,
Okay.
right? Can you name them?
So I'm not able to recall that.
So, hello, Madhav.
Hello, sir. Hello.
I would want to begin with a very basic question. What is the difference between accounting and finance?
Sir, both these terms are related. Accounting would involve the recording, summarizing, classifying different financial transactions and events for a company. So that would begin with their recording and ultimately financial reports and their analysis. The finance aspect is often called as the bloodline of any organization. So it would involve different decisions that are there, such as raising funds, where to utilize it, investments, dividends, etc.
Okay. And do you follow any finfluencer? What are finfluencers?
Sir, influencers that are dealing with different financial advisors, those are finfluencers. I'm not particularly following any finfluencers.
And is there any regulation regarding finfluencers recently by SEBI?
Yes, sir. Because of spread of digital media and their advices were being shared across social media. So finfluencers basically are often alleged to have their own stand in terms of owning a different security. So SEBI has ensured that the finfluencers have to register before SEBI and have to disclose their investments.
Can you name one very high-profile finfluencer who was actually debarred for some time? a couple of years ago.
I did not follow that.
Okay, never mind.
And Madhav, you've cracked almost all the prestigious exams that there are in the country. So are you in favor of coaching or self-study?
Sir, both of them are required, sir. If only coaching was a solution, I think if only coaching was a solution, then most of the students would have cleared different examinations that they take, sir. So self-study is a more primary thing. Coaching does require and speed up your preparation in different aspects, sir.
So if you have to, let's say, if you're made secretary with the government of India and they're asking for your recommendation, would you recommend banning coachings, or like would you encourage government to go ahead and maybe create a lot of coaching institutes and maybe even create a subsidy for them?
Sir, I think we'll have to evaluate what our end goal is here, sir. Is our end goal to ensure that different sections of the society are able to get employed or get professionally qualified in different courses? Or our goal is to basically target or promote the coaching industry? Because if we want to ensure a broad-based movement, even different state governments are running their coaching industries for civil services, as coaching institutes in affordable manner for civil services. So it is a means that we have to
just a couple of questions more. Let's say you've heard of Hindenburg's allegations against Adani.
Yes, sir.
What happened with them? Where are those allegations, and what is the accountability if they are not proven right or wrong? What's your take on that?
So the overall matter is in the legal courts as of now. Different committees have been set up. Their reports are expected. But it was a major allegation, and taking a short selling position that Hindenburg takes and has taken in the past as well. Both sides have.
Can you name 5 countries in Africa?
Yes, sir. Sir, starting with the north itself, sir, Egypt, Nigeria, Niger, Algeria, Libya.
And which country was in news, in fact, today because of a sovereign default?
Sir, I'm not aware of it, sir.
Okay,
I'll have to read it.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you, Madhav. That's the end of our formal interaction. How did you think it went? How did you think you fared?
Ma'am, it was decently well. Little bit brushing up on my knowledge that I read about commerce in the initial months of this year. I think I'll have to do that. I forgot the names of the banks itself who defaulted this year. So yeah, that is one aspect that I have to do.
Silicon Valley Bank.
Yeah, Silicon Valley.
But don't be too harsh on yourself. I think at least I found you outstanding, absolutely. And not just, the interview is not just about what you say, it's about how you say it also. And whether you guess, whether you show a certain depth, whether it shows that you're analyzing, etc. I found you excellent. No doubt, we largely stuck to the financial sphere only, and more or less. So I guess that you are updating yourself on newspapers and everything. Yes, I assume you should be doing that. You don't have that much time, do you? You are on 9th of January. But your preparation is pretty good. And just your, not just your, probably you'll get about 2-3 questions on this, but you will get other areas also, international events that are happening. Your views, because you see, for you, the bar is going to be higher. The minute you answer 2 questions, one, your biodata, and second, the way you're very good. So there will probably be provocative opinion questions also, which you will need to, I'm sure the way you answered, you would be doing that, which would be looking at the pros and cons and then saying why you agree, why you come to a certain viewpoint. Apart from that, I'm sure you're reading the Indian Express Explained. Are you reading that? Or any other newspaper that you want to see the analysis part of it?
Okay.
You would be reading financials, ET or Mint or whatever you're doing. You would be looking at talk shows. You'd be looking
Yes,
at
yes.
international affairs, you'd be doing all that. So that's very clear. And I'm sure you do very well. In fact, that is a sense I get from the whole board. And in fact, look, they're already putting a stopple that when you become a civil servant in a key position, then you will favor coaching centers. So that really shows the
Yeah.
tenor of the thing. I think that's all I have to say. I just have to wish you all the very best. Mr. Verma?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Madhav.
Yes, sir.
First, let me react on your that thing. Interest rate going down. So
Yes,
if
sir.
a
Yes.
fixed income thing gives me a good interest, I will
Yes.
be happy with it.
Yes,
If
yes.
I buy a bond and it has a good coupon rate, I will be happy with it. I will not go for risky assets.
Yes, correct, sir.
Okay. If the
Yes.
interest rate goes down, then the
Yes.
new bond will not be appealing. The new FD will not be appealing. Now, if I have money and FD is giving me return of only 4.5 or 6%, I will not
Mhm.
go for FD.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will look for other opportunities. Those other opportunities may be in the equity market.
Yes.
So when one instrument becomes less appealing, the money tend to move
Mhm.
towards other instruments. That's why when the interest rate goes up, not good for equity market. When interest rate goes down, good for equity market. That's why if people are saying that Fed is indicating that interest rate will come down, so RBI may also indicate that interest rate may come down. So it will be good for equity market.
Correct, sir.
अब मैं
Correct.
आपको ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि देखो इंटरव्यू बोर्ड में कोई CFA 3 वाले नहीं होंगे, कोई एक्सपर्ट नहीं होंगे. They will be all commoner like us.
Yes, sir.
So when you answer in a simple manners.
Mhm.
ठीक है. आप इस तरह से समझाइए कि सामने वाले को बहुत साधारण ढंग से ये बात समझ में आ जाए.
Correct, sir.
ओके.
Yes.
तो ये एक अप्रोच होना चाहिए. आप बहुत टेक्निकलिटीज में मत जाओ. जब स्ट्रक्चरल फेज ऑफ ग्रोथ की बात की तो यू स्टार्टेड गोइंग इनटू टेक्निकल एस्पेक्ट्स.
Okay, sir.
Avoid that. The person who might have put that question to you may not be a financial expert or expert of economy or expert, or he might have not spent his career in Ministry of Finance.
Yes, sir. True.
Okay.
Thanks,
Say the simple things. We are developing economy. अभी हमें सड़कें बनानी है, ब्रिज बनाने हैं, एयरपोर्ट बनाने हैं, स्कूल्स बनाने हैं, यूनिवर्सिटीज बनानी है. अभी तो बहुत काम करना है.
Yes, sir.
But all these things require capex, heavy investment.
Yes.
This heavy investment will give lot of opportunities to the concerned industries. Right? Like if the real estate is booming, cement industry. If infrastructures are booming, steel industry, aluminum industry, metal industries. So explain the point in a simple manner.
Okay, sir.
That will be better appreciated.
Yes, sir. I totally agree, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You are a good candidate. और थोड़ा जब आप जवाब देते हो तो थोड़ा एनर्जी एग्जीक्यूट करो.
Okay.
बहुत लेट बैक ढंग से बात मत करो. थोड़ा सा वो एनर्जी ऐसा लगना चाहिए ना, यू आर फुल ऑफ एनर्जी. हाँ देखो अब स्माइल आई ना चेहरे पर, लाइक दिस. ओके. बेस्ट ऑफ लक. यू विल डू गुड. यू आर ए गुड कैंडिडेट.
Thank you,
ओके.
sir. Thank you.
प्लीज टेक ओवर.
या माधव, एक जस्ट लिस्ट लिख ले कि क्या करना है हमें. फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड्स प्रिपेयर कर.
ठीक है
Right.
सर. ठीक.
राइट. दिस इज समथिंग दैट मतलब बहुत एलोक्वेंटली ये डिस्क्राइब करने हैं, बिकॉज इस पे आप पूछेंगे. राइट. बायजूस, एनी रीसेंट वन, any recent bank failures, right? The Credit Suisse, the other ones, right? This
Yes,
Silvergate Bank hai, and there's another one, right? Which I think
Yeah,
she
yeah.
mentioned. How accounting is done in GOI, accrual accounting versus the other.
Yes.
Right? There's a standard question which normally is asked in interviews. जैसा आप गवर्नमेंट अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स की बॉडी क्या है, उसके मेंबर्स क्या हैं, थोड़ा सा वैसा टेक्निकल. ग्रीन अकाउंटिंग क्या होती है, राइट? एंड अच्छा, हॉकी वाला पार्ट प्रिपेयर कर सकते हैं हम थोड़ा सा, राइट? हॉकी इंडिया,
ठीक है. ठीक.
लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप हुआ था, यू शुड नो हु वन. बेल्जियम वन, राइट?
Yes,
Who was
yes.
the man of the match and all that. India, what happened? Why is not India not winning a World Cup since so long? Right? We did well in Olympics and all that. ठीक है,
Yes, yes.
राइट? अच्छा, स्ट्रक्चर मैं पहले ब्रॉड आंसर दे देकर एंड देन नैरो इट डाउन, दैट इज द वे आई थिंक इट्स बेटर यू हैंडल क्वेश्चंस। ठीक है, जैसे मैंने फाइनेंशियल, व्हेन आई टॉक्ड अबाउट फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड्स, राइट, की सो हाउ डू फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड्स हैपन, तो गिव अ ब्रॉड आंसर which I think you can
Okay,
give,
okay.
and then narrow it down giving examples.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, because that will make sure that you're not going to specific very quickly in the answer, right? That's it from my side. हो जाएगा, no problem, Madhav. Right.
अच्छा, जैसे माधव, मैंने
Yes.
भी सीएफए किया हुआ है, तो ऐसा
Oh, sir.
इंसिडेंट, हाँ, तो लेकिन
Okay.
अच्छा, ये ना क्वेश्चन, जैसे मैं जब यूपीएससी मेरा भी इंटरव्यू था, तो मेरे को आई वाज आस्क्ड दिस क्वेश्चन, अब डिफरेंस बिटवीन अकाउंट्स एंड फाइनेंस, तो
Okay.
जनरली मतलब इसका एक ना सिंपलर आंसर को कुड बी देयर, ठीक है,
ठीक है
तो
सर।
अकाउंट्स इज अबाउट द पास्ट, है ना, जो हो चुका है चीजें पास्ट में, और फाइनेंस इज अबाउट द फ्यूचर, पैसा कहाँ से आएगा, कहाँ लगाएंगे, है ना, तो
ठीक है सर।
पास्ट एंड फ्यूचर को बहुत सिंप्लीफाइड, जैसे ना, जो अगर इंजीनियर होते हैं उनसे पूछते हैं कि टेक्नोलॉजी में, और है ना, जैसे उसमें जो टेक्नोलॉजी इज अप्लाइड पार्ट ऑफ द लर्निंग्स दैट वी हैव, है ना, तो इसलिए ये जो सिंपल साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में क्या फर्क है, ऐसे पूछ लेते हैं, तो इसलिए फाइनेंस एंड ये,
ठीक है
तो
सर।
और जैसे जो सर ने बोला, ये बहुत मैंडेटरी है कि जो
या
इसके बारे में पक्का ही पक्का, क्योंकि पहली चीज दिमाग में आती है ना, किसी एक सीए को देखकर वो होता है कि दे विल बी एबल टू कैच द फ्रॉड, एंड रादर अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स जो, तो सीए तो अकम्प्लिस हैं, तो साथ ही बैठे हैं, ठीक है, तो इसीलिए तो आपसे एक्सपेक्टेशन बहुत बढ़ जाती हैं इस चीज की, तो है ना, ये चीजें इंपॉर्टेंट है, और प्लस जो मैम और सर दोनों ने आपको, अशोक सर और रत्ना मैम दोनों ने बोला कि एक्सपेक्टेशन बढ़ जाती है मूवमेंट दे सी अ वेरी गुड कैंडिडेट, तो इसीलिए एक्सपेक्टेशन बढ़ गई है, मतलब नंबर अच्छे मिल सकते हैं, तो उस पर केटर कर देंगे, दैट्स इट, है ना, वो केटर करने की एक्सपेक्टेशन रखनी है, एंड ना यू स्टार्टेड ऑफ वेरी वेल, एंड यू हैड अ लॉट टू से, एंड यू लाइक यू आर वेरी प्रिसाइज विद योर वर्ड्स, बट जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़े थोड़ा सा, चलो बीच में हमारा ये फंबलिंग भी थी यहाँ पर, तो योर एनर्जी केप्ट ड्रॉपिंग, तो उस पर काम करना है बस, ठीक है, तो वो चीज़ इंपॉर्टेंट है कि वो अभी मतलब भी थोड़ा वही है, प्रैक्टिस से ही हो जाएगा कि 30 35 40 मिनट्स की इंटरेक्शन भी है एट मैक्स, तो 40 मिनट्स एनर्जी ड्रॉप नहीं हो सकती, दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग। तो
Okay,
Is
sir.
there anything you'd like to ask any of us? Any clarification, or you're comfortable?
Ma'am, that one question, the body for organ donation, which one were you referring to?
So there's a
Authorizing.
committee there's NATO, of course, is the body,
Okay.
but there is a committee which scrutinizes each case. Incidentally, even cancer patients in certain conditions,
Okay.
they can do. So it's well worthwhile to read up about the organ donation business.
I'll do
Because
that.
if you put that 100%, you'll get asked at least one question on that. That's why you put
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
be
Yes.
very sure who can and who cannot,
Okay. Okay.
right? And brackets that have taken place, etc., and how to prevent it. Those kind of things can come.
Yes, sir.
But we hope to see you there. Your name
Yeah.
to be there high up. How did you do your mains?
Ma'am, it went well, ma'am, compared to last year. Yes.
All the best then.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank
All
you
the
for your
best,
time.
Madhav.
The best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.